Space fumigation, a proposed new endorsement category. EPA's new rule included competency standards that all applicators using a restricted use space fumigant will need to meet. These are topics that will need to be covered in study manuals and tested for on the exam. Space fumigants will include any true fumigants that are not used in the soil. This isn't tied to any specific license types, it includes all applicators, so private applicators will need to meet these competency standards as well. These measures were introduced to help mitigate risks to human health that occur during a fumigation, and make sure that applicators all across the country are receiving the same level of training before performing an application. Currently in Washington, we have fumigant-related material integrated into many different individual endorsement categories. We have pest animal, which allows fumigation of rodent burrows in agricultural situations, PCO general, which allows for rodent burrow fumigations in non-agricultural situations, PCO structural, which allows insect fumigations of residential structures, stored grain and fumigant exams, which allow for fumigations of stored commodities, private applicator, which includes non-soil fumigations in agricultural situations on an individual's or their employer's property, and finally, sulfur dioxide fumigation, which covers fumigations of wine barrels and corks for sanitization purposes. So as you saw, that is quite a few categories, many of which are taken by applicators that do no fumigations at all. For that reason, we are proposing to remove fumigation from these exams and create the new method-specific category. This category should just cover topics related to applying a fumigant and won't be redundant in pest or location topics that are already covered by the category exams. Applicators using a space fumigant will need both the space fumigation category to cover those competency standards specific to fumigation, as well as any relevant category endorsements. So to give an example here, let's say an individual needs to fumigate rodent burrows in their orchard. They would take the private applicator exam, as it is their personal property, and that covers them to do general rodent control in an agricultural situation. The private applicator exam will no longer cover fumigation principles, though. So if they want to do that kind of application, they will also take the space fumigation category. Again, this way, any private applicators that don't want to do fumigations don't have to learn about them, and those that do just have to learn the specific competencies required by EPA to make a fumigant application. A second example here is an individual who works for a pest control company and wants to fumigate a residence for termites. They would need the PCO structural category. That covers control of wood-destroying organisms in a residence. But to apply a fumigant, they would add the space fumigation category.
With this new configuration, some current categories will no longer be needed. The stored grain, fumigant, and sulfur dioxide exams will be phased out, as these will now be covered by other categories. Current licensees with either the fumigant or stored grain category will just need to take the C&T course or quiz, and they will get the new space fumigation category from taking that course or quiz. Other licensees who are using fumigants will need to pass the space fumigation exam by the end of your recertification cycle when the rule goes through. If you have any questions about this presentation, please contact us at pestlicenseupdates@agr.wa.gov. You can also call the main line at 877-301-4555.
Thank you for watching the Certification and Training Plan presentation. Stay tuned for more updates.